funded to do that on one of them.
Sometime I sent them to some of the office to bring back. Yes. First time it ever happened. Yeah, when I went home, it was the and then when vacation I put them.
That's awesome. Just unbelievable.
It's great. Great, amazing. We have play.
You do it.
You know, I've on the board.
Everybody, we're starting the night, guys. I'm not the greatest public speaker, so please, everybody be patient with me, and I hope I get through this without fumbling too much. Rabbi Aboud, the Aboud and Tower families, and fellow members of the Hatzalah family. We are here tonight to honor the memory of Esther Bat Hana, Aleha Shalom. Never in a million years did any of us think that we would be getting together for this reason. So I thank each and every one of you for coming tonight, as well as thank you for everything that you do for the organization. Tonight we are not here to mourn. We are here to honor, celebrate, and remember the life of such a special and beautiful person who has touched each one of us in one way or another. To honor and celebrate Esther's memory, a number of members have taken upon themselves to complete the learning of the Shisha Sidrei Mishnah. The tremendous dedication to finishing this project in 30 days makes it very evident as to the love and care that we, the Hatzalah family, have for each other. And tonight, with the culmination of this project, we will celebrate Esther's life and memory with a beautiful Siyum. To remember Esther, later on we will hear from a few members with their memories and stories of and with Esther. We would like to also invite anyone else that would like to share a memory of Esther to step up and share your stories with all of us. JS 82 and JS 65, if you are here tonight, don't bother trying to get up. We'll just stand you down. I gave Esther my word. May all our merits be Liuli Nishmat Esther Bat Hana, and that our Neshama continuously be elevated. I'd like to call upon Yona, who's going to be our MC tonight. Yona. can do it.
When they asked me to be MC, at first I said no. I said, what am I going to say? There's not much to say, but to speak about the Rebbitzin and my connection with her. I knew Avi and Esther before they actually got married. I knew Avi growing up as a little kid in Rabbi Aboud's house, hearing stories from Avi, telling us, when he was in St. Louis, how the janitor was working on the car. He went out, honked the horn, the janitor picked up his head, bumped his head, and all the boys in yeshiva were laughing, and they thought they got a kick out of it. I knew Esther growing up with my sister. She was friends with my sister Simcha, may she rest in peace. And they grew up together. They went to Beis Kayla together. And I grew up with basically both of them. After they got married, I believe when you were engaged, Avi, you played on my bar mitzvah, drums? I think at my bar mitzvah, Avi played drums many years ago. But growing up, knowing Esther, throughout the years, there's thousands and thousands of stories that people are going to say. But a few stories that I had, incidents that I had with Esther was that when my sister wasn't feeling well and she was sick, I used to get a call from her all the time asking me how I'm doing, what's going on, how you feeling, you okay? I was going through some personal issues of my own. At the time, I had a broken engagement, and she used to invite me for Shabbats. I used to go to the house for Shabbats all the time, eat there, like an older sister would do. And I felt that way always to her, and I always used to call her Rebbitzin. I don't think there was a time that I pulled up to the house I didn't either say Rebbitzin or Mrs. Aboud. I don't think I ever called her Esther. And I used to get yelled at for both of them. I'm not that old. I'm not a Rebbitzin. Until my husband's a rabbi, I'm not a Rebbitzin. And I said, Avi was always my teacher. The only reason why I'm in Hatzalah today is because of Avi. And he was my Rebbe, so you're a Rebbitzin. Avi asked me, once he heard I was emceeing, he would like to thank everyone on behalf of his family, to thank everyone from either anyone who sent him a text message to coming visiting in the hospital. He doesn't want to mention any names, or to everything in between. He'd like to thank everyone for what they did. I took upon myself, if there was a Hall of Fame for Hatzalah members, I took upon myself to make something up, and there is no stadium big enough to hang it up. Whoops, I didn't break it. But I want to present this to Avi. This would definitely be hung up in Madison Square Garden or any stadium that they put up the jerseys that they would put up. I want to present you this. We're going to continue with the night. Rabbi Aboud's going to get up. I'm going to introduce Rabbi Aboud to come. He's going to speak and Siyum. We'll Siyum and speak. And then we'll continue with stories and calling up other people to speak.
Thank you, Yona. I think what we'll do is first we'll make the Siyum, and then we'll try to talk afterwards. I mentioned by the Arayat that this undertaking that the Hatzalah together took upon themselves to make the Siyum of the Mishnayot was a tremendous, tremendous zechut for Esther Bat Chana, Aliyah Shalom. Okay. The word Mishnah comes from the same word as Neshama. When you learn Mishnayot,
It's going good.
okay, it's okay. It's all right. You don't need to. When you learn the Mishnah, it elevates the Neshama. So to learn the whole Shisha Sidrei Mishnah, which is an unbelievable undertaking, with tremendous zechut, that's a lot of people got together and to make this Siyum. So we'll make the Siyum first, and then we'll talk about Esther, Bat Chana, and also about Hatzalah. So this is the last Mishnah of Shisha Sidrei Mishnah. The Mishnah says, Amar Bishab ben Levi, עתיד הקדוש ברוך הוא להנחיל לכל צדיק וצדיק 310 עולמות. לעתיד לבוא, final גאולה, when the final גאולה is going to come, הקדוש ברוך הוא is going to give to every righteous individual 310 worlds, שנאמר להנחילו היבה יש ואוצרתם על מלא. And I will fulfill the storages. אמר רבי שמעון בן חלפתא, לא מצא הקדוש ברוך הוא כלי מחזיק ברכה לישראל אלא השלום. The best kli means like a utensil, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu found is someone who makes peace between people. שנאמר השם עוז לעמו ייתן, Hashem will give strength to his nation, Hashem יברך את עמו בשלום. This is the last Mishnah in of the Shisha Sidrei Mishnah, and now we'll make the Hadrin. Hadran הלך סדר Shisha Sidrei Mishnah. חנינה בר פפא, רמי בר פפא, נחמן בר פפא, חי בר פפא, אבא מרי בר פפא, רפרם בר פפא, רכיש בר פפא, סורחה בר פפא, אדה בר פפא, דרו בר פפא. הרב נא אדוני אלוהינו את דברי תורתך בפי נפיות עמך בית ישראל, ונהיה אנחנו וצאצאינו, וצאצאי צאצאינו, וצא עמך בית ישראל, כולנו יודעי שמך ולומדים את תורתך לשמה. מויבייתך כמני מצוותיך כי לעולם הילי, ליהי לבי תמים בחוקיך למען לא אבוש. לעולם לא אשכח פקודיך כי במך איתני. ברוך אתה אדוני למדני חוקיך. אמן 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 סלע ועד. מודים אנחנו לפניך אדוני אלינו ולאבותינו. ששמת חלקנו מיושבי בית המדרש ולא שמת חלקנו מיושבי קרנות. שאנו משכימים והם משכימים. אנו משכימים לדברי תורה והם משכימים לדברים בטלים. אנו עמלים והם עמלים, אנו עמלים מקבלים שכר והם עמלים ואינם מקבלים שכר. אנו רצים והם רצים, אנו רצים לחיי עולם הבא והם רצים לבאר שחת, שנאמר ואתה עולים תורידים לבאר שחת. אנשי דמים ממר לא יחצוי מהם ואני אפתח בך. יהי רצון לפניך אדוני אלוהינו, כשם שעזרתנו לסיים סדר משניות, כן תעזרנו להתחיל מסכתות וספרים אחרים ולסיימם. ללמוד וללמד, לשמור ולעשות ולקיים את כל דברי תלמוד תורתך באהבה. וזכות כל התנאים ואמוראים ותלמידי חכמים יעמוד לנו ולזרענו שלא תמוש התורה מפינו ומפי זרענו וזרע זרענו עד עולם. ותתקיים בנו, בהתהלכך תנחה אותך, בשוכבך תשמור עליך, והקיצות היא תשיחך. כי בי ירבו ימיך ויוסיף לך שנות חיים באורך ימים בימינה, בשמאלה אושר וכבוד. אדוני עזלמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה. בעלמא דברה קירותיה וימליך מלכותיה ויצמח פורקניה ויקרב משיחה. בחי חון וימחון וראי לכל בית ישראל באה עגלה ובזמן קריב אמרו אמן. יהא שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולמי עלמיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומה ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לאלה מכל ברכתה שיר אתה דברכתה לחם אתה דמרן בעלמא ואמרו אמן. על ישראל ועל רבנן ועל תלמידי הון ועל כל תלמידי תלמידון להסכים בריתה קדישתה די בהתראה דן ודי בכל אתר ואתר יהא לנה ולנו לכל חינה וחינה וחיזה וחמם מקודם הרי שמיה ועל אמרו אמן יהא שלמר הבא מן שמיה חיים ושבע וישועה ונחמה ושזע ועפר גדולה סליחה וכפרה ורווח והצלה לנו לכל עמו ישראל ואמרו אמן עושה שלום במרומיו וברחמיו יעשה שם עלינו על כל עמו ישראל ואמרו אמן. This gathering that we got together, though already we had the Arayat at the end of the Sheloshim, but the Hatzalah members felt it's kedai, it's worth it to get together because the loss of Esther Bat Chana was not only a loss to Avi, the husband, or to the children, Hanan, Or, and Rachel, and Eliyahu. It was not only their loss, but it was a loss to the whole Agudah, to the whole Chabura of the Hatzalah, the whole Hatzalah people. It's a loss for them too. Gemara says in Shabbat, Echad Shebechabura Shemet. One of the Chabura, someone from the Chabura, that group of people, died, Yidagu Kol HaChabura. It's not just a loss for that individual, but the Chabura, the whole together, the whole Chabura together, it's a loss for the whole Chabura. I think that Salah, which we saw throughout the whole time, that since Esther Alei Shalom, she was in the hospital, how the Hatzalah felt the pain and helped the family to be able to cope with the whole situation like it's something that's part of them. It was like their pain. And I think that's why the Hatzalah took upon themselves to learn Mishnayot for the Ilui Neshama of Esther. She was one that was very involved. Besides, she was a wife. She raised her children. She was very strong, always very friendly, smiling all the time. And with all the work that she had to do in the house, she found time to get involved, to help her husband, to be part of the Hatzalah. She wasn't able to go on calls, but a dispatcher, she was able to do that, though she had a whole burden of the family. One of the things, Avi doesn't take care of bills. She had to do that for him. Not only that, I just want to bring out another point about Esther Bat Chana. Her children, Chana and Rachel, the type of the job that they had, and I think Rachel still does it, they worked with Shai. Shai is a handicap school for handicapped children, and to be able to do such a job, a full-day job, and to be so dedicated that to bring the children not only to go to school, but they used to bring the kids to the house. And not only anytime there was a simcha, they used to take the kids to the simcha also, that they should enjoy also. This is a tremendous, tremendous dedication. In last week's parasha, we found, it says in the parasha, Im mizbeach adama ta'aseh li. The Torah says that if you're going to build an altar, it says that you cannot take a sword and build it. You got to build it without a sword. You got to put stones together, but don't use a sword. But it says im. Im means, usually im means if you're going to do it. Here it doesn't mean if. Here it means that you have to build a Mizbeach. It means when you'll build a Mizbeach, this is the way you should do it. There's another place in the Torah that it says im. It says it by im kesef talve et ami. If someone will come to you and he needs a loan, you have to give him the loan. Na'im sounds like it's a reshut. You don't have to if you don't want to, but it's not. It's an obligation. You have to help him. So why does the Torah say im? Over there means ka'asher. When someone will come to you, you'll have to give him the loan. The question is, so why does it say it that way? It should say it's an obligation to build an altar. It's an obligation to go help out your friend. Why does it say the word im? That sounds like it's a reshut. There's a commentary, the Maral. Maral says that when someone comes to you for a loan, the reason why the Torah says im, it has to be that it should not be like you feel like you're obligated to do it. You should want to do it from your own heart, to go help out somebody else. It says it in a way that it's a reshut, even though it's an obligation. Don't do it because you're forced to do it. Do it because you want to do it. When you want to build an altar, don't do it because you're forced to do it. Do it because you want to be close to God. You want to be cleave to Hashem. You want to build the altar. Those are the two things. Ben Adam leMakom, Ben Adam leChavero. The Torah teaches us that when we do these type of mitzvot, we should do it not because we're forced. We should do it because we want to do it. You want to help out your fellow man. And I think the Hatzalah, when they do their work, they do it not as an obligation, but they do it because they feel the pain of somebody else that they want to do it. They're so dedicated for their job to go to try to save someone's life, to try to help someone in need. It's not just an obligation, but they want to do it. There's a heart over there. Just to show you how important it is, this idea of helping out somebody else. On the way coming here, I was thinking there's a Gemara in Ta'anit. Gemara tells us there was a doctor, his name was called Abba Sikra. That was his name. Gemara says this doctor, every day he would get a voice from heaven, and the voice from heaven would say, Shalama alach, which means good luck, good morning. Every day a voice would come, just say to him, good morning. Abai and Rava, they were, the Gaon Mevilna says, Abai and Rava in Talmud Bavli, their name is mentioned almost every page in Talmud Bavli. Abai and Rava is mentioned. Abaye and Rava, the Gemara says, Abaye, every Erev Shabbat, right before Shabbat, a voice would come from heaven and would say, Shabbat Shalom to Abaye. Rava, once a year. Once a year, right before Kippur, a voice from heaven will tell him, Tizku Leshanim Rabot. That's in the Sfaradi. In Ashkenaz, they would tell him, Gemar Chatima Tova. So the Gemara says like this, Abai and Rava, they were learning Torah. And they were wondering, how is it possible that this doctor, every single day, a voice from heaven would come and tell him, good morning? So they wanted to find out, what does this doctor do? That he has this merit that every single day a voice from heaven comes and says good morning to him. So they found out that this doctor was a doctor for bloodletting. Those days, I guess, it was very, very common to do a bloodletting. So he had an office. In his office, he had a sign how much he charges for the job that he does. But he said, he's not gonna, you don't have to pay him. If you could afford it, put the money in the box. You can't afford it, you don't have to pay. He had also like a place where only men come from one side, there's another woman come from another side, there should be tsanua. Now, when he had to do a job on the woman, the Gemara says he had a costume. He had the lady who wore a costume in order that he should not look at the lady. So he had a costume. Another sign he had, Talmid Chacham is exempt. He doesn't have to pay. Not only that, after he finished the job with the Talmid Chacham, he helped him out a little bit on the way out. This is what the Gemara says, that this Abba Sikra, for that, just to show the chashivut, how important it is to help out somebody else. You're talking about Abaye and Rava that learned the Talmud, the whole Talmud Bavli. They're zocher once a week or once a year. But every single day a voice from heaven would come and say, good morning. It's an unbelievable thing. What it means to help out somebody else in need, to feel for somebody else. How special it is in heaven that when you help out somebody else in need, and especially the job of the Hatzalah. And not only that, the Hatzalah also got involved not only with helping out people in need, but even in the Chesed Shel Emet, the Hatzalah got involved, which is something that's unbelievable. The Gemara learns out, how do we know that you got to take care of someone that's Chesed Shel Emet? We learn it out from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, V'alachta bedrachav, you have to emulate Hashem. And Hashem took care of the burial of Moshe Rabbeinu. It says, Vayikbor oto bagai. Hashem himself was the one that took Moshe and he buried him. He did whatever had to be taken care of with Moshe Rabbeinu, but he did it himself. So just like he did it, you have to emulate HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'alachta bedrachav. So the chesed of the Hatzalah is not only in helping out the people, but also in the chesed shel emet, which is an unbelievable thing. And I mentioned the other day that when you do chesed, that will bring the Geulah. In Egypt, the Chafetz Chaim says, Nachita bechazdecha am zu ge'alta. The Geulah in Egypt came about because it says that the Bnei Israel got together and they saw that there was a lot of gezerot that were going on, the Shibud Mitzrayim, and they got together, let's do chesed with one another. Let's do Gemilut Chusadim with one another. And be loyal to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And the Chafetz Chaim says that if you do chesed with one another, Hashem will be kind to us and bring the Geulah. That's one thing, and the other thing is, which is very important, that besides Gemilut Chasadim, you have to learn Torah. The Geulah can only come Torah and Gemilut Chasadim together. And therefore, I think that there was an awakening that the Hatzalah, besides doing the chesed, which is unbelievable, but at the same time, also to be involved in learning. To have a class in the middle of Shabbat and in Torah, how to deal with the idea that allowed to go, and you have to save someone's life. There's an obligation that you have to save someone's life. And when you go, you're allowed to come back. But there's so many laws that come about when you do the work on Shabbat itself, that we have to learn the laws. If you don't know the laws, you could violate the Shabbat, you could violate Yom Tov. It's very important. This one. It's very important that to learn the laws and to know thoroughly in order to be able to do the mitzvah properly. So just end off that Yeratzon should be zocher, that to be able to come together on happy occasions, and I'm sure any one of the Hatzalah members that has a simcha, everyone will get together, and Hashem should only bring Yeshuot v'nechamot, and Hashem should bring the Gulam Rabbi Amenu. Amen.
I'm going to call up Rabbi Mario Safdie to give us a few words, JS 23.
Thank you. B'shut Morai v'Rabotai, B'shut Kvod Harav. Rabbi Shweki was unable to be here tonight. I'm just going to cover for a couple of points. We just finished, Baruch Hashem, beautiful Siyum, Leilun Ishmat, Esther Bat Hannah, where we all collectively got together and we learned the entire Mishnayot. It's an unbelievable achievement. And it brought to mind, from what the rabbi was saying, the importance of the Torah and how much Limud Torah accomplishes in the world. We know, the Chachamim tell us, that the three foundations of the world are Torah, Torah, Tefillah, and Gemilut Hasadim. Torah and Avodah, and Gemilut Hasadim. Baruch Hashem, the organization Hatzalah, all of us here today, Baruch Hashem, Gemilut Hasadim, Baruch Hashem, we do a phenomenal job. Everybody in their own way, from the dispatches, the Nashim Tzidkaniyot, and every one of us who have given our time to go help another person. What an unbelievable act of chesed. It's the foundation of the world. Torah that we just accomplished tonight, we learned the entire Mishnayot, another unbelievable achievement. And I thought back to the many times that we also said Tehillim, we also prayed for many people who were not feeling good along the way. And it brought a new appreciation to how much we actually do. We can never underestimate what we do at Botai. There's a story about a woman, and she went into one of these high-end supermarkets, where, all the tomatoes look bijanna, and there's no, hazit tomatoes. You don't have to look through; everything's already. Only the best of the best is on the shelves. And as she's looking through the different prices, she sees, there's mushrooms, 20 different kinds of mushrooms. Each one is more expensive than the next. And then she sees in the back of that shelf, there's like a glass case. And she sees these little black, crinkly mushrooms. And she sees it says $6.99 a pound. She says, wow, $6.99 a pound. Okay, that's not bad. She says, why is it behind the glass? So she calls over one of the people who work there. She says, excuse me, first of all, why are these mushrooms behind the glass, and why is it that it's $6.99? I think you missed the decimal point. She said, no, it's $699 a pound. $700 a pound for mushrooms? She said, what is this mushrooms? It's not really mushrooms, it's truffles. And if you go through the whole sugya of truffles, you see that it's a whole thing. They have to get animals, they have to go in the forest, you can't find them, they have to look till they're able to track it down between the dogs or the pigs, whichever one whichever region it's coming from. Now imagine you have the person working, he opens the box, oh, another one of these mushrooms, okay, put it up, probably $6.99. If you don't appreciate what a good black truffle is, what truffles are, you have no appreciation for it, it'll just go on the shelf with everything else. So it's very important, Rabotai, to always understand what we're doing here. We're doing things that are the foundation of the world. Our Torah that we learn, like the rabbi just mentioned, the Torah that we learn is phenomenal. It's a foundation of the world. The Gemilut Hasadim we do is a foundation of the world. It can't be just treated lightly. It can't just be treated heke. It's something very, very, very hashuv. Chacham Ben Ish Chai brings down an unbelievable thought. He says about Shabbat, learning Torah on Shabbat is 1,000 times greater. A person receives 1,000 times more reward for the Torah he learns on Shabbat than the Torah of the rest of the week. Shabbat is a very, very, very hashuv time in the Botai. It's so unbelievable. It's a time that our spiritual selves, our neshamot, our true selves, gets a break from the gashmiut of the world, from all the physicality, from all the daily work that a person has to do, that the Yetzer Hara tries to keep people busy with many different things. But Shabbat is a time that we can reconnect. It's a time to spend time with your family. It's a time to sit down and have seudot. It's an unbelievable time. Very, very holy. Unfortunately, today, there's Bar Minan Lo Alenu, there's a big thing going on today in Kabod Shabbat and Kiyum Shabbat. Bar Minan, you can't even talk about it, but we hear reports that some of the younger children, they're Bar Minan, I can't even say it, but between the cell phones and the Instagrams and the texting and these kind of things, if we would have asked 20 years ago, would we ever have a test, our generation, a test about Shabbat? We would say, of course not. Shabbat's it's in the bank. Shabbat we'll never have a problem with Shabbat. All the old stories we heard about Shabbat, that people used to have to give up their livelihood every week after week. People would go and be willing to sacrifice their livelihood, depending on how they walk into their job of not coming in tomorrow Shabbat. They got a pink slip. They had to go home. What are you going to do Monday? Who knows? That Mesirut Nefesh that they had, we thought we already have Shabbat. Baruch Hashem. We all know Shabbat. We all grew tremendously. How could it be that we hear stories like this, that that people, young people who had a Torah education, and they're getting caught up with Bar Minan to be Mahalel Shabbat with texting? It's unheard of. It's frightening. But the Chachamim tell us, let's look back for a minute in last week's Parashah, 2 weeks ago's Parashah. Pasuk says that Bnei Israel came to Marah. The water was bitter there. They didn't have water to drink. And it says that Bnei Israel complained to Moshe Rabbeinu. We threw wood into the water, and the water became sweet. It became drinkable. Torah ends off over there. It says, Sham Sam Lo Chok Mishpat B'Shem Nisau. Over there, Borei Olam gave to Moshe gave to Bnei Israel. That she tells us some mitzvot, and that's where we were tested, but that's how we were able to grow. How we were able to grow close to Borei Olam. Hashem gave us mitzvot. He gave them Torah. Start learning Torah. What mitzvot did He give him? Rashi tells us, Shabbat. The first number one mitzvah He gave them, Shabbat. Talk about Shabbat. Learn about Shabbat. After Shabbat, Para Adumah, Dinim. But the number one mitzvah, Rabotai, Shabbat. End of the Parashah. Torah tells us that Amalek came to attack Bnei Israel. Where did Amalek come? They came to attack Bnei Israel in a city called Refidim, in a place called Refidim. Chazal tells Refidim is actually a euphemism for the word Rafu Yedehem in a Torah. Their hands became weak from learning Torah. They had a weakness spiritually. And Amalek was able to crack through that and to try to attack Bnei Israel and try to cause harm. Not only physically, of course, but spiritually also. It's the same way. We have to keep Shabbat to the best of our ability. The more we are strong with Shabbat, the more it'll have effect on everybody else around us in the world. Every Jew everywhere, where we are careful with Shabbat, and we treat Shabbat properly and with the utmost respect, and we're careful on every point of Shabbat, it affects everybody, not only us, not only our families, but the entire Kalal Yisrael. We all know the famous Mashal Hafetz Chaim is talking about Shabbat. He said, if you have a store and it's going through a tough time and they're running out of some merchandise, people still come into the store. They'll come in, they'll see, oh, you're out of this kind of product, you're out of that kind of product, you're suffering a little bit on the electronics, you don't have any contacts. Got to get in touch with all our community, Baruch Hashem, and we'll help you out with electronics. Whatever it is, slowly but surely they're running out of things on the shelves. But people always still come into the store. They could start taking away shelves. There's no more shelves anymore. But people will still come into the store. But once the sign comes down, that's it. There's nothing left in the store. You know the store's closing, right? Once they have the grand closing, that's it. The sign comes down, there's nothing left. Chavetz Chaim says the sign for Kalal Yisrael, for us, is Shabbat. Our store, our spiritual store is all Shabbat. You have Shabbat in the window, we have Shabbat on top, that's our name. That is what protects us. That's what keeps us going. Gives us the Kedusha to continue. Just to end off, Chazal tell us how important Shabbat is also in Parashat Beshalach. We spoke about the man And the famous pasuk says, "Vayishpetu ha'am b'yom ha'shevi'id." On the seventh day, the Bnei Yisrael kept the Shabbat perfectly. And Chazal tells that was one of the two necessary Shabbats in order to bring the Geulah. We needed two Shabbats that the entire nation collectively keeps Shabbat perfectly, and the Geulah comes. Shabbat is also many times referred to as the Geulah. The Geulah is referred to as Shabbat. We want Mashiach to come. We're waiting. The one mitzvah that's going to get us to Mashiach, Rabotai, is Shabbat. It's going to get us to the Geulah, the final Geulah, which is called Shabbat. We all know the Kiddusha of lighting candles with the Nashim Tzidkaniyot are so careful with. And one of the thoughts that the Chachamim tell us is when by lighting the candles on Shabbat, we bring the Shekhinah into our home. It's a time where you're able to feel the Shekhinah. When you have the two candles, you have Ish and Ish. With a Yod and a Hey, you have Ish and Isha. You have a family life. You have the Shekhinah there together. That's why even if a person had just regular candles, it's nice, but that's not the candles of Shabbat. The Kiddusha of Shabbat, they say that when a woman lights the candles, it's a time when the tefillot are so pure. It's a time when tefillot can go straight into Shamayim. The doorways in heaven are open. What a woman could accomplish with the tefillot just when she lights the candles of Shabbat is unbelievable. What an opportunity. This, Rabotai, is the Kiddusha. It protects us from the whole week. It protects us from the Yetzer Hara, and it protects our families to guide us in the right way. That's why it's so important to spend time with your families, to have a seudah, sing the Pizmonim, the holy Pizmonim that we have, our community, we have the custom, the bakashot. Baruch Hashem, I was zocher last year to go to Eretz Yisrael, and I went to the 3 o'clock in the morning bakashot they have in Yerushalayim, the Adeshul. Unbelievable experience. But these songs, every one of them, holy words about our connection with Borei Olam, the Pizmonim, spending time with the family, Rabbotai, Divrei Torah on the Shulchan, this is something to increase our Kedusha. Be'ezat Hashem, we have been working on revamping and systemizing, clarifying the halachot that are applicable specifically to the Hatzalah members and to the dispatches. And I've been in communication with Rabbi Shwaki on this. We're working on it, Be'ezat Hashem. We hope to hopefully have soon prepared a booklet. We'll give over, Be'ezat Hashem, some classes on this. Well, we want to put out also a checklist that members can look through every week before Erev Shabbat. What do I need to do to make sure I'm ready for Shabbat? Right? Make sure your equipment's all set. You have enough O2. Make sure your bag is ready. Make sure you have ID in the car, copy of your ID. You know, all these kind of details that a lot of times gas in the car. Thank you, Yana. Right? Make sure your tank is full. Make sure you're ready to go on a call if you're going to be able to take calls on Shabbat. These kind of things, if a person goes through a checklist, we're ready. You go through, like the Chachamim tell us, the end of B'mei Medlikin, right? You want to go through Shabbat, but the last thing right before Samuch Chashecha is Sarten, Erev Ten, Hadlik Watanir. First, you got to make sure everything's done, good, we're set. Are we ready? Okay, now we can go into Shabbat. Now we're ready, we're prepared. HaToreach Be'erev Shabbat, Yochel B'Shabbat. If you prepare before Shabbat, then you eat on Shabbat, which Chachamim explain. We get all the rewards, all the Olam Haba, all the Zichuyot. Everything is all about what effort we put in now in this world to prepare. So Be'ezat Hashem, let's do the preparation properly. Let's look over the halachot. Hopefully coming soon, we'll be hoping in the near future. And once it is up in effect, like we spoke with the coordinators, we're going to go through it. We're going to double check it, make sure if there's anything that needs to be updated according to what our needs are now, different things, the way the ACRs are working, different protocols that may have been changed. And Be'ezat Hashem, we look forward to a lot of beracha, v'atzlaha. Be'ezat Hashem, should be all the Elu Nishmat, Esther Bat Hana, we should be Zocher Tesim Yashtes, V'kenem Rabbi Amen, Amen.
Before I call upon the next speaker, who's going to be reading a letter. They say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Everyone knows the chesed that Esther did throughout her years. Being part of the family, I, again, know the family for a long time, and I don't call them by their first name, Auntie Anna. All the chesed that she does, Auntie Anna does, and like they say, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Esther following in her footsteps, always caring about people, and making sure everyone was happy, and whatnot from whatever they could do. Next speaker is going to be reading a letter on behalf of his wife. We're going to call up on Or to read a letter for his wife Hannah, the daughter of Esther Bat Hannah. Shalom.
Dear Ima, I sit here writing this letter, but it doesn't seem real. How could it be? No more talks, no more puzzles or trips to the boardwalk, not even one more hug? Doesn't make sense. One thing I do know, Ima, is that you will always be here with us. Your influence and the lessons you've taught us will last forever, as we live by them and pass them on to our children. Ima, not many people can say that they were lucky enough to have had a mother like you. We may have had only 24 years together, but in those years you managed to give over what many people don't in an entire lifetime. Your priorities were always rock solid. We never had a doubt who came first. Abba, of course, and then us. You made sure we knew how proud you were of us, and that you were always there for us, for a ride, a talk, a hug. No matter what. When I spent the year in Israel, we literally spoke 5 times a day, at all times of the day and night by you, and you never once told me it wasn't a good time. The amount of chesed you did on a daily basis began and ended with your family, but included so many in between. You always made time for everyone you met. No matter how sick you may have been, with a smile you'd stop and ask about their families, their children. Cheli and I were once in a food town, and a Gentile woman stopped us and asked, "Are you Esther's daughters?" It wasn't a hard guess. Cheli does look exactly like you. But who is this woman? She explained that she worked at the bank, and whenever you would go in, you'd greet her with a smile and ask her how her day was going. "I love your mom," she told us. When Abba started Hatzalah, you made us feel like the luckiest kids in the world, that our father was doing such an amazing chesed. All the times he was out of the house and the years of interrupted Shabbat meals, we never gave it a second thought. We'd cover the food and wait until Abba came home to finish the meal. We were so happy to wait because we knew we were part of this mitzvah. We were sure of it. Why? Because Ima said so. No matter what we were going through or how much pain you were in, you never let it affect us. If you could avoid it. When I was in Israel, you were diagnosed with cancer, and you didn't let anyone tell me. You knew I was alone and I would be scared, so you waited until I got home to tell me in person. You always made each of us feel special, like you were thinking just of us. Not a Shabbat passed by without you, making sure to have something specific that we each liked in the house. We all just knew we were your favorite. You always encourage us to become involved with a chesed of our own, and went out of your way to help us get started. When we began volunteering in the Special Children's Center, you would drive us and our friends each week to the programs. As we got more involved, you continued to support us and never once gave credit to the effort you put in. You gave us such a pride in the special mitzvah. When we asked to bring our handicapped children to our house, you immediately said yes. Shabbats, holidays, snow days, no problem. You opened your home to these children with such simcha, and they became a part of our family. You even added your favorite foods you even added their favorite foods to your weekly shopping lists. When Or and I got married, you welcomed him to the family with open arms. It was as if it was your son, not your son-in-law. You worked to build a connection with my in-laws, even from so far away, always calling and sending them pictures to make sure that they were always included. Baruch Hashem, you always had a beautiful relationship with them, although you never met. When Mazali was born, the excitement was amazing. You helped me adjust to being a mother in a way that only you could. You helped me gain the confidence I needed to care for Mazali, while going out of your way to do all that you could do to help. From the minute she was born, the two of you were the best of friends. You never said no. Babysit every day? Sure. Leave Mazali here overnight. Of course. She loves you so much, Ima, and she still walks around the house asking for Gamma. Ima, no matter how much I say, it will never be enough. How can you thank someone who is responsible for everything you do? All you are. Your thoughts and feelings and reactions to life situations. There's no way. We thank Hashem every day that we were zochet to have had such an amazing mother, and for the time we had to learn from you. Ima, although it's not enough, I will say this. We love you and miss you every single second. Your thoughts and lessons are on our minds constantly, and we hope to use the tools you've given us to continue to serve Hashem in the best way possible and make you proud. We love you, Ima.
About 10 years ago, Avi walked into the house, give and take, I don't know how many years, but give and take 10 years ago, Avi walked into the house with a shoebox. In this shoebox, there was a puppy, little puppy that fit into a regular shoebox. Came over to Esther, the Rebbitzin, and said, yeah, I got a little puppy. Just like she said in the beginning, and if I'm not mistaken, I went around and asked, I will never dispatch a day for Hatzalah. This is the lady who dispatched, I would say, almost every single day without fail, at least one time a day. I will never dispatch a day for Hatzalah. I will never, ever love this thing. Thing was Duke. It was a little puppy in that box when it first came into the house. That thing grew bigger than everybody in that house. It was one way of keeping your mother-in-law out of the house. But it was something that she loved and she cared about. She took care of it, and even there wasn't many people who could go into that house. When Esther was in the hospital, I get a phone call from Esther. Could you do me a favor? Okay, what is it? I need you to go to my house, take Duke out for a walk. Okay, no problem. Why me? Because anybody else that walk into that house, the Duke will actually eat them. So when she was in the hospital, I went numerous amount of times, took Duke out for a walk, took him around the corner, let him do what he had to do in the backyard, fed him and stuff like that, because literally no one else was able to go into that house. If anyone knew who Duke was, he was a dog. It's a Great Dane. He was about yay high, and he weighed about 200 pounds. So he was a little puppy in the box at first, but grew to be Esther's best friend. And I don't think Duke was close to anyone like he was with Esther. We have a couple of dispatchers who wrote letters, and they're going to be read on their behalf. We're going to call on David Belhassan to read a letter for his mother-in-law.
So I am not a public speaker at all. I'm going to try my best to read this letter. Bear with me. I just got this letter about 5 minutes ago, so I had no time to practice. This is from my mother-in-law, D4, who wrote this letter, and I'm just going to read it on her behalf. There is a special bond that Esther, alav shalom, Grace, and I have, being a part of the original Hatzalah dispatchers. No one really understands the stress that we have endured, but we did. because we had each other, we laughed, we cried, and even vented. The fact that Esther is no longer here is just too surreal. There is no amount of words that can express the heartache we feel. Esther meant a lot of things to a lot of people. Some of us knew her better than others. Some of us knew different sides of her, and yet we didn't know her as well as she knew us. She was nurturing and kind, and all above, she was forgiving. There were many times we would unintentionally annoy her, trust me, making schedules and sacrificing time with family and friends because you were stuck in the house is trying at best. But Esther would forgive our arguments almost instantly. She was also very apologetic. For example, we have this agreement in place. In case an on-duty dispatcher couldn't get the phone for whatever reason, on the fourth ring, you grab the phone and cover. However, there were many times when Esther would answer before the fourth ring, which was fine, trust me. We always welcomed the break, but what would she do? She would put out the call, make sure all the members were responding to the scene, and then she would pick up the phone and apologize to us for answering the call when it wasn't her turn. And she wouldn't just apologize once. Every time she saw you that week, she would tell you how sorry she was for taking the call. I personally laughed because I didn't care. It was fine. I even joked about it. And Esther, do you want to take my shift? Of course, her answer would be no, and we'd just sit and laugh on the phone together. What I didn't realize was that she probably felt bad taking away my mitzvah. And then there are those out-of-the-blue phone calls from her. Hey, how are you? You doing okay? Do you need anything? And I'll be thinking, why is she calling me? She's got so much on her plate. She would ask these questions, and it wouldn't stop there. Every time she saw me on the street or in the store, she would not only ask how I was, but inquire about my husband, my kids, my grandkids. She wouldn't stop asking questions until she was satisfied that everybody was doing well. The funny thing is that when it came to asking her how she and her family was doing, she would just say, Baruch Hashem, and the conversation stopped. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. She never let any of us know what was going on in her life. Things weren't going her way. We always found out through the back door, so to speak. She held her head high and greeted everyone with a smile, a kind word, no matter what was going on in her life. That's just Esther. To me, words are inadequate. There's simply no way to make you understand the void that is now present. Our loss is quite different from that of her family, and of course cannot compare. Esther was a huge presence in our life, and she will forever be missed. Those are my mother-in-law's words. I'm sorry if I didn't read it that well. Just a few things on my end that I want to say. So as to being a dispatcher, we all know she was the stand-down queen. In case you did something wrong, she yelled at you all the time. But besides being that, I want to say something to all the dispatchers. I believe, as being a Hatzalah person for almost 10 years now, being a dispatcher is probably the hardest job. You don't know the outcome. A child choked and you send units. You don't know if that child's alive or dead. You don't know if the parent who you went for a CPR call is back. You don't know if the baby was born. What was the baby? Was it a boy? Was it a girl? You don't know what happened. And they have to live with that. So, and I see that through my mother-in-law, and as well I saw it through Esther when she was dispatching. As much as we want to say she was great, turned us down, but it's because of you ladies, the dispatchers, and some of you men who do it, who know that it's them who hold this organization together, and her being one of the founding dispatchers, without her, I don't think we'll be here.
On that note, when she used to tell people to stand down, I used to get that all the time. 2-5, I didn't ask for a bus. 2 seconds later, she'll get the backup unit. 2-5, are you available? That calm and nice voice. And then I get the phone call afterwards. I hope I didn't yell at you. I apologize. Next speaker we're going to get is Heshi Horowitz, who's going to read a speech from one of the dispatchers.
But I don't have this letter I got from a dispatcher about an hour ago, so I didn't have a printer here to print it, so I'm going to read it off my phone. Printer? I'll try to. Yeah, I'm not lucky enough to say that I've known Esther Shalom for a long time, like most of the people speaking or wrote things being read tonight. On the contrary, I only knew her for less than... I don't know how... I'll try. I only knew her for less than 2 years, but in that short time, the difference she made was immeasurable. Unfortunately, I was not able to let her know the true impact that kindness and compassion had on me, and can only hope she felt it. The simplest way I can make everyone understand how she made me feel is that from the moment I joined the Jersey Shore Hatzalah family, it was as if I joined the Aboud family. Esther Shalom would text me almost daily to check in on how I was doing as if her own daughter, knowing I was juggling family, school, and work, always asking questions and wanting to know more so that she can get to know me better. Anytime I would turn the tables asking how she was doing, what I can do to help, she would tell me everything was great and immediately jump back to, but what do you need? Without fail, before exams, when she sends my anxiety, she would say the most reassuring words, and the day after the exam, I would wake up to a, quote, well, ... to which I would reply that I passed, and you would think she was my mother from the reaction she would give. So proud and excited. Sometimes I felt like she was happier than I was. Soon enough, I learned that was just who she was. Selfless, kind, compassionate, and genuine. Even in the last months, going through everything she embodied all these qualities. When I heard she was first in the hospital, I texted her hoping to finally beat her at checking in and to see how she was doing and what I could do. In true Esther Shalom fashion, she replied that she was okay. We had a short but sweet conversation, and she ended with "keep your smile." Those are the last words she said to me, and I'm going to add in here that this conversation was on 2 days before she went into cardiac arrest. Those are the last words she said to me. I read our conversation every day because it's a consistent reminder of exactly the person she was, the kind of person I only hope to one day be. I may not have known her for a long time, but I consider myself extremely lucky to have met her, and although I can't tell her face to face how blessed I feel to have known her, I can only promise to keep my smile, and I'll keep hers in my memory. That's her letter. I'll just add on a couple of little things I thought of myself. I got to know Esther probably 4 years ago when I joined Hatzalah. First time I walked into that house, she was sitting in the same chair she always was, right in the kitchen, smile on the face, offering food, drink, anything. Every time I walked into that house, I was asked how my kids are doing, how my wife was doing, and it wasn't just asked to be nice, because she actually remembered the next time I came in exactly what I told her the time before. So it wasn't just being nice. In her house, like was mentioned before already, I went there, I believe, 2 perms. Both times the house was full of special needs kids that her kids were taken care of, would show that she actually gave over her passion to her kids who were following in her footsteps, giving over their care to everybody else that may need it.
This all tonight, the Siyum, was all because of Heshi. The couple of people, Or and Hana, came up with the idea of doing the Mishnayot, and Heshi went and executed it. He got this thing online. He went and called up. He told me I shouldn't say anything, but really, the whole Siyum was because of him. The next speaker we're going to call up is Ralph Hannon. He's going to get up and read a speech on behalf of D3, one of the other founding dispatchers. You want to read it? Thought so.
Needless to say, like the others, I just received this, so bear with me as well. Sometimes we take for granted the people who come into our lives. We are too caught up with what we perceive as problems that we don't take the time to appreciate the people around us, and then all of a sudden they are gone just like that. We think to ourselves, why didn't I call more often? Or how didn't I realize what she was going through? Why wasn't I nicer? Or why didn't I take the time to see how she really was doing? It's easier sometimes to look the other way or pretend everything must be okay since we didn't hear otherwise. Or if we did hear, then we think to ourselves, if she wanted my help, she would have told me what's going on, so it's not my problem. But that wasn't Esther. She didn't wait until you came to her or looked the other way. She was always first to ask how you were doing. How are the kids? How is the husband? If she heard the tone of your voice was a little off over the radio, she always called or would send a text to check in and see if everything was okay or if there was anything that she could do. She was the first when she was able to offer to relieve dispatching hours when she saw someone was overwhelmed with the hours that they had, and she didn't even like to dispatch in the first place, but she was willing to take it off your hands to help you. If you ever asked as to her well-being, her answer was always, Baruch Hashem, everything is great, and it was always said with a smile on her face. She always put others before herself, and God only knows she had plenty of reason to put herself before others and to complain, but she never let on any of it. She always rejoiced in our happy occasions and sympathized when you were down, and tried to lift up your spirits when they needed lifting. But never did she complain about her hardships or health. She didn't want the attention, nor the fanfare, or anyone to worry about her. Yet she didn't hesitate to give it to whoever needed it. Yes, Esther was a dispatcher, and she was a big part of the Hatzalah family, and she gave up so much so that Avi could fulfill his dream of starting the organization. She was the most feared, but yet the most respected dispatcher to date, and she knew how to take charge of the call and put the members in their place when it was needed. But she was more than just a dispatcher. She was real. She was genuine. She was honest, kind, and a beautiful person who overlooked your worst moments, and we all have had them, and stayed true to what was important in a friendship. She genuinely cared and always forgave, and I hope she knew how much I really appreciated having her in my life. Esther, you will truly be missed. I also have a few words to say from JS40. That's Joey Massery. For some reason, he just decided to give it to me now as well. Please stop messaging me. I have come to know Avi and his wife and his kids over the years. Every single time I walked into that house, I was offered food or a drink, no matter who was home. Now you might think, well, what's so special about that? I can tell you that when they offer, it's not just them being polite. When they told me to stay for supper, they meant it. In fact, I've actually stayed for supper more than once. The first time I walked in, when Mrs. Aboud wasn't there, it felt like something was missing. It was an eerie feeling. Not seeing her standing by the doorway or sitting by the table is something I can truly miss. Because every single time I walked in, she asked how I and everyone else was doing in my family. It wasn't just making conversation. She went through each kid. She wanted to know what grade they were in and how old they were, how they were doing in school, and how my wife was doing. One time I walked in the house, and a week later we had the same conversation. She went through each kid, and she inquired about them and wanted to make sure that they were happy. She didn't forget about the things I've mentioned in the past. If something happened, she would inquire about it and make sure everything was okay, numerous times. My wife would tell me how she would get a text from her out of the blue just saying, "Thinking of you, love you." The day she passed away, I was given the honor and privilege of helping out. I was able to say thank you for everything she has done for me. All the kind words, the beacons of hope. One time, something happened, and Avi called me saying, "My wife told me not to call you." She was the driving force behind most things that we will never even know about. I didn't. I knew Mrs. Aboud since I was in high school when I first came to the Deal Yeshiva. Never really knew her well. I never had interaction until about a year ago when I met Avi and I met the family. But aside from the few times that we interacted, and like Joey put it into words, that no matter who you were and no matter what you did for the organization, even not for the organization, you walked into her door or you were within her Dalet Amot, and it was always about you and nothing about her. In fact, the last encounter I had with Mrs. Aboud, I remember Avi calling me because he was away somewhere, not in the area, and the pharmacy was going to close and she needed a medication, and so Avi asked me if I could pick it up. I went to pick it up, and apparently she didn't know about it, and when I came to the door and I had the medication in her hand, she was so embarrassed. No, why did he make you do it? I'm so sorry, I bothered you. Again, it was never about her. Even if it was something simple, just as doing a favor and picking up some medication that she needed, and if it would have closed, it wouldn't have been good for her. But still, in all, she didn't want anything from anybody. She tried to not bother anybody as much as possible. She was, as far as what I've known, but from what you hear and everyone, all of us know, and all of you who know her more than I do know, she was a very special woman and she will be missed.
On the tables, you'll see what would D1 do. They're all around the room. There's 18 things. I was looking through it quickly and looking at number 2, put your spouse first and make sure they know it. I don't think Avi, a day in his life went by that Esther made sure that he knew he was number 1 and he was first, and there was nothing. Avi sitting on the couch, I would come to the house, instead of Avi getting up, Avi, no, sit down. Esther would get up and walk you to the door, walk you out every time without fail. Avi's resting, let him rest. And just going through it, it's a very good thing. They have magnets, you could take it, put it on the fridge, read it. I'm going to call up David Hillel, 406. I think he's the last 400 member standing. All the other ones are now JS members, JS regular numbers. So God willing, we'll get David to be a regular JS member. But right now, we'll call up 406, David Hillel, to say a few words.
First of all, thank you, Atzalah, for putting together this beautiful event. Unfortunately, it's a commemoration for Esther, and we wish she was here. We miss her. So at the funeral, Rabbi Mansur spoke about inspiration and about basically we get inspired by tragedies, and we hear an unbelievable speech and we go back to normal, like become numb. And the truth is, I myself I'm sick of being numb. Also, we go through all these things, tragedies and hardships, and eventually we become numb, and we're so busy with work and with our families, and we just go right back to normal. I was talking to Meyer on Shabbat, and we were discussing Yitro. Came in and told Moshe Rabbeinu, everybody knows the story. You can't do this yourself. You have to really delegate. You keep the big things for you and give all the dayanim the small things. The Gemara says, Meyer told me, the Gemara says that when he said keep the big things, he meant the ben adam lechavero things, how to treat people, how to take care of people, how to be there for one another. Those are the big things. So I could definitely say for myself, I could only speak for myself, and how this event has affected me is that I committed to take some of the things that I learned from Esther over the years and implement it in my own life. I happen to work in the same office as Eliyahu for the last 5 years, and the detail and the relationship that Esther had with her children is something that people don't understand. I mean, it's incredible. The details of the care and the loving that she had for her kids. It wasn't, every kid was cared for on a very detailed level. Many times I walked outside the office and I saw her waiting outside for Eliyahu lunchtime to take him for pizza or to spend time with him. And she waited for it, and I know how many times a day they spoke on the phone. And when he first got his driver's license, she wanted to make sure that he's, that he's okay. It's like not normal how much she loved these kids and how much she was their mom, but also their friend. And they spoke for hours and hours. I mean, I never get to talk to my kids anymore. I'm so busy, I could barely answer them. I'm looking at my phone. She spent hours talking to them, taking walks with them, taking care of them. And I know Eliyahu, I know Eliyahu misses her, and I know the kids, Rachel and Chana also, and Or now too. Like the relationship that they had is very detailed and very, it's extent. It's not, it's something that I was thinking about a lot after the funeral, and I was jealous of it. And I said I'm going to make a point to build a better relationship with my kids, and take advantage of the time that we have with our children. One of the late nights that I was driving Avi home from the hospital, he was taking a break. Ralph came to substitute. Avi looked at the house and he didn't want to go inside. He says, "This house is empty without her," and that's how he really felt. He said, "I don't even feel like I want to go home without Esther." And of course, we're all going to miss her, but and Avi is going to have the strength to pull through this, and the kids are just going to have to take from their mom the best things that she taught them, and she's just going to have to implement it with their own children. I was at the house one time and the baby came, Hanan, Or's baby came. The joy that she had seeing that baby, she waited for that baby every morning. Every morning, it was like her new thing to look forward to. That little baby, she used to babysit her every day, and it was unbelievable. And these are the things we have to remember, and I myself am committed to be a better father, a better husband, and I hope that we all learn and we remember her for who she was, the Baalat Chesed. Her mother, Anna, told me that she got 2 awards in Hillel Yeshiva growing up. She got Eshet Chayil Award and Woman of Valor. And I think that's when she was a kid. And all her friends from Hillel came, even though they haven't spoken to her for so many years, because they remember her midot, remember her chesed, remember how good she was. Both those things, Eshet Chayil, which she was an unbelievable Eshet Chayil to Avi, and a woman of valor, which she cared about other people. I think that she deserved those rewards when she was 8 years old, when she was 40-something, as well as when she was 8 years old. Yeh zichra baruch.
Does anyone else have anything to say? Hey, we're going to call up the executive board to come up here for 2 minutes to do a presentation. Ron, Dr. Jeffrey, Alan, Morris.
We would like to call the Aboud family up to join us up here for a very special presentation.
This plaque is going to be in the dispatch room at the headquarters, presented to the family, and it reads, Hatzalah of the Jersey Shore, presented in memory of Esther Aboud, Alav HaShalom, D1, for her selfless devotion, love, and compassion to Hatzalah and the Jersey Shore community. She remains an example for all of us to live by. Her memory lives on in our hearts and will guide us forever. So this will go on the wall, hopefully tomorrow, and we will surely miss her. Thank you.
I just want to start by saying, Ralphie, after you dropped off the medicine, she fought me for a week. I'm only kidding. She was very appreciative. I'm not really going to sit and talk about Esther, Alav Shalom, and who she was and what she was. We're here today with family, and I just want you all to know that she loved each and every one of you individually. Every time a new member joined, it was like she had an addition to the family. And one time she actually made a joke. She goes, "Why don't you put everybody down as dependents?" I almost threw her out of the house. But she really meant it. She really, really, in her heart, considered everybody here to be family. And I remember when the idea of Hatzalah came up. I was on Elbron for 13 years. And, obviously, we all know there were issues that it was hard to get volunteers. We couldn't go into each other's boundaries. So the idea came up, and it was at the prime years of when my kids were very young. And it would have entailed a huge, huge sacrifice for Esther to have me even consider starting it. And without a blink of the eye, she says, "Are you kidding? This is going to save lives. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. You're going to do whatever it takes to start." And I remember it was a 2-year battle before we actually even went into service. And she really gave up tons of herself. But it didn't stop there. I remember the day we went into service. It was like one of my kids getting married. It was one of the biggest simcha she ever had. And it continued through the years. And I was telling somebody the other day, when she went to the first Hatzalah carnival, she was didn't know what to do with herself. She shept such nachat from Hatzalah and the progress. And little to say that every call that we go on, she takes, it's on her. She gets a zechut, definitely gets a zechut. And again, people were saying that it's me, it's her. It's not, it's all of us. And without all of us, all of you, Hatzalah cannot be where it is today. And first of all, I want to say from the bottom of my heart and my family, a big thank you to everybody here for allowing me to be part of you and for you to be part of our family. And, somebody said to me during Shiva, she's always going to be here, and you're always going to be here. And, hopefully we're going to all continue to do what we're here to do, save lives. And, this generation, next generation, it's definitely going to be something that in years and years and years to come, we're all going to look back and be very proud of. Thank you all from the bottom of my heart for, in such quick notice, finishing Mishnayot. It was not easy. I got away with it easy. I picked a small one. I picked Makot. But the truth is that really I'm planning on doing a lot more, and to see everybody as a whole that got together and did something that's so beautiful really is, whoops, see? I didn't do it,
I'm on a video, am I? This is for you. I don't know my own strength, I guess, huh? Definitely is going to be a big elevation in Shemayim for Haneshama. Thank you, board members, coordinators, members, for putting this absolutely magnificent Siyum together. Hopefully, moving forward, we're going to share many more happy simchot, and she's going to guide us, and she's going to be up there as our mediator. I'm sure she's already. She gets places very quickly. And, other than thank you, I really don't know what else to say. So, thank you.
I'm going to say Birkat Hamazon now. Any Kohanim that washed? Steven, you washed? We have books to do. You washed? We have 10 men that washed. No, I know that already, so I'm not counting.
Very nice. Enjoy the birthday party weekend. Yeah, great weekend. Sounds like it's going.
נתן את העולם כולו בטובו מכם בחסד ולאחרים ובטובו גדול תמיד חסר לנו וחסר לנו מזן תמיד לנו ועד כי הוא יעזב ונסחו שנלוך לכל ויהי מכם נתון ונתו ואשר ברב ורחמה וחזלה ומור ותהיה חסד וחסד וחסד ודקו נודה לך אדוני אלוהינו על שנכרתם אלינו את עבודה עזרנו על שתנו מארץ ישראל ותנו בבית בנים מאר וליטה שתנו על תורתך שתנו אחרים שתנו ועל הכל אדוני אלוהינו ואנחנו ואחים את שמכם וברכת השבת תחת אדוני לך וטובה שתנו לך ברכת אדוני על המזון רחם אדוני אלינו אלי שמך והשם מרך על שם וחלך הבא גדול קדוש שנראה שלך עליו אבינו לבינו זנינו וזנינו וחרדנו והרוויחנו 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 ונעזרנו אלינו לידי ודום וזר ודם ובוא לידי ודם ואחר וחוקת אביב משחת החזרנו כמובן בימינה ממנו
Abra's going to go hang it up now. Go here.
ותמנה ويجيب لنا ويجيب لنا ويجيب لنا ويجيب لنا الرحمن الرحمن الرحمن